Hey book friends, what's up? It's Kat. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. I do videos on the romance novels that I read. I love supporting the wonderful authors that I have met and putting them on this platform, YouTube. This channel is my passion project, and if you like romance novels, this is the place to be. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm starting out with my glasses on today because I'm going to be doing a lot of reading. So when I decided to do this channel, I went a little bit on YouTube and looked around, and I saw that, you know, there's so many authors out there, and I was finding and reading so many wonderful love stories, and yet I wasn't seeing anybody else in the booktube community talking about these authors. So I would search those authors' names and not find anything. So I kind of figured, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. Thus, this is my channel. That being said, I also wanted to kind of do my own thing, and I didn't really, I didn't watch other book channels much. I watched some to get a feel for what they did, but I really just kind of wanted to do my own thing. There's some fun stuff that goes on in other channels, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing one of those fun things. It's actually a tag video, which I've never done before. I saw this tag on Bookable's channel, and then turning it into a tag that the book community can use is Princess of Paperback's channel. So there's a few questions. I thought it would be kind of fun as also a get to know you, because I haven't really done that either. I don't know if you guys are really interested in that or not, but this will give you a little glimpse into my reading life and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get started with the stay-at-home tag. I wanted to take also a moment because it is the stay-at-home tag. I'm filming this when we are, more than waist deep in this coronavirus. I applaud all the essential workers that are out there. I thank you for everything you're doing. If you stumbled across this video, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. What you are doing, your work is so important. In my own family, my sister's a nurse, and also our son works for Costco, which is already an amazing company to work for, and he is actually the only one that's leaving the house these days to go to work every day. I worry about him every day, but Costco has been amazing. Okay, kind of plugging Costco here. Costco is amazing in how they're trying to protect their employees and the shoppers. I went to Costco earlier this week and I felt safe there. I know they're keeping it clean. I know that they take it seriously, and I know that they're still putting food on everybody's tables and making sure that there's food for people to bring home. So to all the essential workers out there, thank you from the bottom of my heart. So the first question is, laying in bed, a book you could or have read in a day. So that was hard for me. All these questions were hard for me because I couldn't just pick one book, but I had to really dig deep, which sounds kind of dumb, but I had to think about what was the last book that I read and read really, really fast. And that was The Only Exception by Victoria L. James and L.J. Stock. I did a video on that book. Oh my God. Ethan and Izzy, that's all I can say. And what I'm gonna do is, and you probably see it, is, I think it's usually over here. I'm gonna put the cover of the book as I talk about the books in each of the questions. I freaking loved that book. The second question is, snacking, a guilty pleasure book. So this was an interesting one for me to answer because guilty pleasure, what does that mean? I guess if we were talking about TV shows, I would say my guilty pleasure is Real Housewives of almost anything at this point. I don't actually watch all of them, but it is my guilty pleasure. So when I think about that in a book form, I tried to think, okay, well, what is guilty pleasure? well, I really like all the books that I read, and I think sometimes the romance genre can be a guilty pleasure. And so what I did was I went for the new Camelot series by Sierra Simone. It was a guilty pleasure for me in that it was the first series that I had, pardon me, I had read that had any male action and had any threesome action. And so that is kind of like definitely guilty pleasure to be reading as far as I'm concerned. The third question is Netflix, a series or book you want to start. Okay, like how do I possibly narrow this down? I am one of those people that my to be read list is probably 200 books, because what I do is I just add and add and add, and then I hope to go back when I get chances in my reading schedule to go back and remember. So, and actually, if you hear my family in the background, it's just the state of things. It's lunchtime, everyone's in the kitchen, and I have the door closed, but I'm sure you can hear them. So I had to go back and think really hard for this one, because there's of course a million books I want to read. But what I came up with was the Thornchapel series by Sierra Simone. And I actually don't know if it's complete yet, but they are A Lesson in Thorns, Feast of Sparks, and Harvest of Signs. Harvest of Signs? I think so. So I, as you can tell, love Sierra Simone. I mean, her books are so sexy but really great stories, emotional, and like they're meaty, and they have great characters, and I just adore her. And so, and I'm sorry, I know authors don't always like this, but I like to wait until the series is complete before I start it, especially if I know it's one of my authors like Sierra Simone is, and that I'm gonna read the whole thing and just dive right into it and like not come up for air for days. So I'm kind of waiting for that to be done. The fourth question is Deep Cleaning, a book that has been on your TBR for ages. Like I said, my TBR is a mile long, and so what I did was I went back in my Goodreads to see, and I went back chronologically that I had added to my TBR. In July of 2016, I started a new Goodreads account. I had been reading strictly romance novels for a couple of years at that point, and I wanted one that would focus on just romance. My other original Goodreads account was everything else that I used to read, and so I just did that. And so the first book I added to that was Trilogy of Eve by Pam Godwin, and it was the Dead of Eve book in that series, in that trilogy. I enjoy her so much. I have not read her recently. It's been, I think, a couple years at least. But I read Dark Notes. I read, what's the one? Venge? Anyway, I've read quite a few of her books. That was the one that has been on my to be read on Goodreads for the longest. The fifth question is Animal Crossing, which I think is something to do with that game that everyone's playing, right? What is a book you bought because of the hype? Okay, so because of the hype. So hype is like everyone's talking about it, right? Right. I love getting recommendations. So if somebody that I know gives me a great book recommendation, I automatically add it to my TBR, especially if we have common likes as far as book goes and authors and stuff. So the hype, I don't know, does that mean like it was like everyone says it's so good, or does that mean everyone's talking about it? So I went with the whole everyone's talking about it. And that book is Sick, F-U-X by Tilly Cole. I grabbed the paperback. I don't buy a lot of paperbacks. I've talked about that before on my channel, but Amazon banned the ebook, and I saw a couple of people, including Tilly, talking about it. And I really, I kind of feel like if you don't like a book's subject matter, then don't read it. But also, don't ruin it for everybody else. Yes, there is a wide variety of books to read on Amazon. Yes, there are all different subject matters. Even under the romance genre, there is all different subject matters. Some can be very, very dark. Some are very lighthearted. You know what? If you don't like the dark books, just don't read it, but don't ruin it for somebody else. I know, I really believe in the craft of writing, and I understand that one person's ability to go someplace in their mind as an author and writing it might be different than the person that's reading it. And I know it's a tough thing, but I just kind of feel like if you go and you buy that book and you don't like it, you know what? You knew what it was about when you bought it. I mean, I don't want to get up on my soapbox, and I know that I kind of am, but then don't buy it. And so in support of Tilly, I have not read her. Of course, she is on my TBR, but in support of her, I bought that paperback. The sixth question is productivity, a book that has had an impact on you. Okay, where do I start with that? I wasn't sure if I should go back to the very first book that I read in this genre, which would be the same as so many of us, and it did have an impact on me, but I tried to go out of the box a little bit more than that and really think about a different kind of impact, because I talk about my favorite books all the time. I could tell you my top 5. Macy, shh, I'm filming, honey. Sorry, the dog's over here scratching her ear and making noise. Anyway, so then I tried to think outside of the box and think of something else that did affect me and had an impact on me. And I've talked before about how I can't read books that have cheating in them. I just don't like it. It breaks my heart. I don't want to read that. I'm a very sensitive person, and that just hurts me emotionally, so I stay away from those books. But that being said, I also do try to push myself and push my boundaries. And so what I did was, a couple years ago now, I read the book Pretty Venom by Ella Fields. I had never read her before, and I was getting the recommendation from a bunch of people, oh my God, the book, you have to read it. But they also were good friends and knew that the cheating was not something that I liked. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. I always do that. I do try to, like I said, push my boundaries. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give this a try. It's, you know, a younger couple. It's not like, you know, me, my age, you know, with my people. And so I read it, and oh my God, I shouldn't have read it. It was horrible. The book wasn't horrible. Let me say that. The book was really good, and it was really good because it was horrible. My heart just couldn't stop in that book, and that freaking male character ruined the name Callum for me forever, until, thank God, Callum Callahan from Mythical Creatures and the Callahan Green series by Annie Dyer, he saved the day. It's nothing against, my feelings of that book are nothing against Ella as a writer or that story. I knew going in that I stay away from the type of book it was. So it's my own fault, and I take that. But it did have that impact on me and kind of solidified the fact that that's still a hard trope, is that the right word, to read for me. And I haven't really read it since then. That boundary is still pretty stiff. The 7th question is Facetime, a book that you were gifted. Okay, so that was easy, and I'm very lucky in that I'm on a few ARC teams for some great authors. So when I do get gifted, if you call, you know, getting a book in exchange for reading it and reviewing it a gift, I think it's a gift. So I do get those regularly, and I feel really lucky to have that. But besides that, most recently, a book friend who I'm so bummed that we were supposed to meet actually next month at a book signing. We live not too far from each other, like about probably less than 2 hours from each other. And we were gonna meet for the first time at that book signing, and I'm so bummed. But she loved the book, and so she messaged me and was like, oh my God, I wanna give it to you because I loved it. And so that book was King of the South by Callie Reed. Is that right? Callie? Oops. Anyway, I'm going to put it over here. Anyway, so Kim gifted me that book, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited to. The cover is gorgeous. I was seeing the cover everywhere. I think, is it historical fiction? I can't remember. Not historical fiction, I'm sorry, historical romance. That is a genre I want to get into. I can't wait to read it. The 8th question is self-care. What is one thing you have done recently to look after yourself? So that is veering off kind of the book topic, I feel like, because reading is like therapy to me anyway. I love being able to get lost in a book, and I'm doing that a little bit more during the stay-at-home time. I have been doing YouTube exercise videos. I always walk our dog, but I live in the Midwest. We're coming out of winter, and although it's April when I'm filming this, it is still cold. I have a fuzzy sweater on today because it's chilly and damp out. So in the winter, I don't get to walk her that often. And so I decided to start doing YouTube workout videos. So that's what I've been doing. So that's definitely a form of self-care for me. I hate exercising, I hate sweating, but I'm trying to be better about taking care of myself and of course the stress level with everything that's going on. And I have a big birthday coming up, and I felt like now was a good time as ever of doing something extra for me. And last but not least, the last question is number 9. And it's a bonus question evidently. Name a book coming out soon. Easy, it's what I'm reading right now. It's Blowback by Monica James. It will be released next week. I'm so excited. I love her books. I am loving this book. This is her second wandering into the dark romance genre. She also wrote All the Pretty Things, which I did videos on all those books. I did a video on the first book in this duet, which was called Bullseye. I will link that in the comments below. So that is the book that I'm reading that will be coming out next. That's it for today, everybody. I hope that you liked this little bit of a different video. I would love to hear your answers to those questions. Put it in the comments below, or actually head over to my reader group, Kat's Romance Readers on Facebook. Come on over, say hi, join us, and let me know your answers to these questions. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.